Welcome to the Robotics and Automation News Awards 2021 to 22 presentation. My name is Abdul Montakim. I'm the editor of Robotics and Automation News.com, and I'll be your presenter for the duration of this video. We had hoped to organize a live event for this, our first awards competition, but after waiting many months, a year or more actually, for the pandemic and its associated lockdowns to end and for travel restrictions to be lifted, it's just not been possible to have organized it in the way we would have preferred. So what we have now is this video presentation. We hope you enjoy it. It's the longest video we've done in a while, but there's a lot to get through, so please stay with us until the end. I know what you really want to know is who won the awards, and some of you may have already seen the article and brochure accompanying this video. But first, I just want to explain the decisions to award each company, how the decisions to award each company were made. Basically, we published an online form listing all of the companies we could think of and all the categories we could think of. And then we asked our readers and everyone who had an interest to vote for the companies they favored. We added up the votes, and the companies with the largest number of votes received the Readers' Awards. For the Judges' Awards, we asked a number of knowledgeable professionals in the robotics and automation industry to go through a similar process, voting on an online form. And we are very grateful for their participation and insights. The judges' votes were counted, and the companies with the most votes will receive the Judges' Award, just like with the Readers' Awards. The only difference between the Readers' Awards and the Judges' Awards is that there are 3 prizes in each category in the Readers' Awards section. We've called them gold, silver, and bronze for now, and there is only 1 Judges' Award winner in each category. One last point is that we still haven't decided on the trophy. Sorry about that. We are hoping to design one of our own, but whatever happens, obviously all winners will receive trophies and any other relevant materials, such as plaques and certificates. With that said, let's first look at the categories. We started with around 20 categories, but I had to whittle them down to about 10 or so for practical and resource reasons. And here they are. Top 3D printer manufacturer. This category is sponsored by DFI, specialist in embedded motherboards and industrial computers. Top farm automation company. This category is sponsored by AutoGuide Mobile Robots, a long-established maker of AGVs and AMRs for warehouses. Top vertical farming company. This category is sponsored by PI USA, which designs and manufactures precision motion and automation systems. Top AI chip company. This category is sponsored by Rootstock, a global provider of ERP on the Salesforce cloud platform. Top electric vehicle charging station maker. This category is sponsored by SAE, the standards developing organization for engineering professionals. And then we have the category of top programmable logic controller maker. This category is sponsored by Item, which provides modular aluminium systems for industrial engineering. Then we have the top warehouse automation company. This category is sponsored by Castrol, a global industrial automotive lubricants provider. Then we have the top industrial robotic arm manufacturer, probably the category that attracts the most readers on our website. This category is sponsored by KVH, Mobile Connectivity and Inertial Navigation Systems Provider. And then we have the top autonomous shuttle maker, a new market which has grown so quickly and caught so many people's attention and imagination. This category is sponsored by Fort Robotics, a safety and security platform built specifically for smart machines. Then it's the top robotic software and systems developer. This category is sponsored by Techman Robot, collaborative robots to fit a broad range of industries. And we have the top end effectors, peripherals, sensors, and embedded technologies. This category is sponsored by Robotics and Automation News itself. And finally, we have the category of top autonomous delivery robot company. This category is sponsored by IDS, provider of versatile, powerful, and easy to use industrial camera systems. So those are all the categories that we whittled it down to. I'm sorry we didn't include some categories in which companies were listed and readers voted, but it just became too many really, and there's only a set number of trophies we can provide, and various other things. This video, for one thing, will become really long as well. But maybe next year we'll add a few more categories. So with that said, let's see who the winners are in each category, and we'll add a few comments for each one if you would indulge us. So for the top 3D printer manufacturer, sponsored by DFI, the Readers Awards, Gold, Formlabs. Congratulations to Formlabs for winning our first announced award for top 3D printer manufacturer. Founded by 3 MIT Media Lab students, Formlabs offers hardware and software and is well positioned for continued success. So congratulations again to Formlabs. Congratulations to everybody who's won an award or is mentioned in the list that is coming in this video. So the next award, Silver prize in the top 3D printer manufacturer goes to 3D Systems. Hugely popular with our readers and rightly wins the Silver Award, one of the first companies in the largely unknown, at the time, unknown sector of 3D printing. It's the company itself, or its former president, pioneered stereolithography. And yeah, it's a very famous 3D printing company. And the next prize, the third prize in the Readers Awards. Remember, this is all voted for by the readers, so whoever got the most votes got the first place, highest number of votes got second, and highest number of votes is a bronze, which was won by HP. Hewlett-Packard, now known mostly as HP, I suppose, which is, as everyone knows, one of the original computing giants in the modern era, if you want to call it that. HP has diversified somewhat and is now a big name in 3D printing. It makes quite large industrial strength 3D printing systems and is making huge strides in the market. And the 3D printing market, to some extent, is still developing, as it were. It's still innovating and developing and growing. Okay, so those are the Readers Awards. Now we'll get on to the Judges Award for top 3D printer manufacturer. The Judges Award goes to Markforged. which is a relatively new company, a startup, if you will, certainly not as old or long established as HP or 3D Systems, although Formlabs is probably relatively new as well. But Mark Forged he is a very innovative new startup company in the 3D printing or additive manufacturing space. I'll just read one of the comments from the judges. They said, being able to 3D print parts for manufacturing is impressive. Being able to do this using metal is incredible. Being able to use 5 different types of metal, 4 types of composite base, and 5 types of continuous fiber is unheard of. Now that's the judge's comment, and shows you what insightful readers we have, some of whom agreed to be judges and have contributed comments like that. So Mark Forged wins the Judges Award. The honourable mention goes to Ultimaker. Ultimaker is a very popular Dutch alternative to the mainly US companies in the sector in terms of the leading well-known companies in the sector. Ultimaker is actually very popular with probably, I don't know, home or prosumer, as it were, professional consumer type market, but also I'm sure it has other machines as well for the industrial segment. So yeah, well done to Ultimaker. That concludes our top 3D printer manufacturer awards. Now let's get on to the top farm automation company award. This category is sponsored by AutoGuide Mobile Robots. Now, the Readers Awards, I'll go through them in order: gold, silver, and bronze. As I said, it's entirely decided by the readers. Whoever gets the highest votes gets the gold, and so on. And the gold winner is FarmWise, mainly a software company that starts with automating the weeding process. One of the first to showcase proven technology that uses AI on a farm, machine vision, and so on. A popular winner with the most amount of votes in its category. It got a huge number of votes, actually. To be honest, it was a clear winner. There wasn't really it wasn't close. Maybe they have a lot of people reading our website, but nonetheless, that is the reality of it. They got the most number of votes. And next we have the Silver Award. And the Silver Award goes to John Deere. Now, John Deere, as everyone knows, is a huge company. It's been an integral part of modern mechanized farming for many, many decades. I actually thought that they would win. That's why I was saying about FarmWise probably has a lot more readers coming to our website. John Deere, people who like or work for John Deere probably should visit our website more. But anyway, Silver's not bad, and it is a robotics website. So John Deere is mainly known for mechanized non-automated or autonomous non-autonomous vehicles, so perhaps that's it follows, it's sensible. But it has recently made tracks in the automation sector, autonomous technology sector. It invested a huge amount of money in acquiring Blue River, which is a lettuce farming robot, or a company that produces a lettuce farming robot, and it's produced robotic innovations of its own, and it looks like it's steadily growing into the robotics or autonomous technology sector. If you think about it, if they converted the hundreds or even many thousands of machines, vehicles that they've got on farms now, they'll just have that largest fleet of autonomous vehicles anywhere in the world. because obviously with farming equipment, the farmer owns the land, he has the vehicle, he doesn't need to get permits and things like that to automate or make it autonomous on his own land. He's not going to use public highways and things like that for his vehicle. So yeah, it's quite possible that something like that might happen, but maybe it's not as simple as that. Maybe it needs John Deere to launch a new range of autonomous vehicles. Anyway, so we've come to the bronze prize, and the bronze prize winner, the winner of the bronze is Left Hand Robotics. This is a company that was acquired by another company called Toro recently, earlier this year. It is the Left Hand Robotics is the developer of autonomous outdoor robots that clear snow, mow grass, and turf. And you know they're multi-skilled, I suppose, multifunctional. It's widely known beyond our readership, and the votes sort of reflected that really, which is kind of surprising because you know these are very new companies. Left Hand Robotics is also very new, so to get a fairly large number of votes and overtake a few other companies that I've heard of is impressive. Okay, so the congratulations to all of them, and now we come to the Judges Award in the category of Top Farm Automation Company. The Judges Award goes to Harvest Crew. Harvest Crew is a great name, and I like it anyway. And this is what one of the judges said. I like the concept and the challenge of not only determining which fruit is ready to pick, but then having to pick them without damaging the fruit is impressive. Okay, so yeah, when you're picking fruit, obviously, if you're a human, you don't even have to think about these things. You don't damage the fruit that you're picking. Often they're ripe and soft, and you know, being rough with them is going to damage them. And by the time they get to the shop, they'll be spoiled. So to develop a robot that can avoid damaging the fruit is indeed an impressive feat, and the success of the company, yeah, is almost guaranteed if it can actually do something like that. Good luck to it. Okay, so the honourable mention in this segment in Top Farm Automation Company Awards section goes to Autonomous Solutions Inc., which I find very interesting because it provides vital systems, software and other solutions, hardware plus software solutions for many autonomous farm vehicles and machines. And it's kind of the go-to company for a lot of the startups or large companies that are looking to innovate in the farm automation sector. So well done to them and to everyone else in this category. Let's move on to the next category now. This is a very interesting category. It's a brand new category, and you know, I don't want to blow our own trumpet, but robotics and automation always likes to try and uh, tap into or give some sort of support to new segments of industry. This category is called Top Vertical Farming Company. Vertical farming, as you will all know by now because you're our readers, is, you know, the idea that you can have a sort of multi-story building in which you can grow fruit, vegetables, herbs, and whatever, using artificial light mainly, probably exclusively actually artificial light, LED lights or whatever they use, and use kind of relatively new systems of irrigation, such as aeroponic systems or hydroponic systems, to help the plant to grow. And you can locate them in urban centers, you know, next door to city or even inside cities. One is in Manhattan, actually, which we'll get onto in a minute. But yeah, anyway, this category is sponsored by PI USA, They design and manufacture precision motion and automation systems. Yeah, thanks to all our sponsors for their support. So yeah, top vertical farming company, great category, very interesting. I'd love to see how things develop. Some people say that the profitability is going to be a challenge, but it's such a good idea. I, I think it will work. So anyway, Readers Awards for this category is gold. The gold was won by Aero Farms. Aero Farms, well done, Aero Farms. And aeroponic specialists, Aero Farms has raised at least $138 million, staggering if you really think about it, in funding since launch in 2004. Currently owns 4 vertical farming facilities in the US and says it's the first in its market to be a certified B Corporation, which I guess it's will stand it in good stead going forward. But yeah, well done to Aero Farms. Next, we have the Silver Award, and the Silver Award was won by Iron Ox. Iron Ox. What a great idea for a name. Iron Ox has recently raised another $53 million in funding. These vertical farming companies are raising huge amounts of money. It's not just me, obviously, that believes in them. And yeah, why not? Iron Ox has recently raised another $53 million in funding and has started supplying its products to local markets in California, USA. Uses robotic arms in its operations, which are the operations themselves are very highly automated, like other vertical farming companies, but not all of them use robotic arms, so that's why we thought we'd mention that. A lot of them do, but not all of them. So yeah, well done to Inox, and a very, very fascinating sector. Okay, so bronze award the bronze award goes to Farm One. Now, Farm One is the company I was thinking of when I was talking about farm in Manhattan, because that's what they have. They have a farm in Manhattan. Manhattan, famous throughout the world as a hugely densely populated urban center. It is probably the most densely populated area in the world in terms of human people, because it's got so many skyscrapers, and per square foot it probably does have the highest number of people crammed in one place in the world. And it is massively expensive to buy property there of any kind. So the idea of having a farm there is, it's just groundbreaking in a metaphorical sense, beyond what you might have possibly believed. A farm in Manhattan, anyway. So that's what's happened. Farm One has established a farm in Manhattan, and good luck to them. And they've won our bronze prize. Congratulations. So the Judges Award. The Judges Award for the category of Top Vertical Farming Company. The Judges Award goes to Iron Ox. Iron Ox. Right, so Iron Ox, this is, as I've already spoken to about them at length. The judges' comment, I'll just read you, is farming automation is the wave of the future, and being able to grow more food in a smaller physical footprint will continue to be crucial as the world's population increases. This company does an excellent job combining both. So high praise indeed for Iron Ox, and good luck to them and everyone else in all of these categories. So yeah, and finally, an honorable mention goes to Spread. Now, Spread is a Japanese company, and probably the first to show how vertical farming works and can be made to work. I don't know if they were the very first, but certainly one of the first. And Japan, as you know, I mean, Tokyo is, I believe it's the most populous city on earth. And yeah, per square meter, in Tokyo, you're talking a very large number of people. So it is one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. Maybe other parts outside the city are not so densely populated, but anyway, spread has shown how urban farming, vertical farming, can be made to work. As I say, some people are still questioning whether there is profit in the sector. Certainly, there's been a lot of investment. So we'll see how things pan out over the next year or two. Maybe it'll take longer, but yeah, good luck to all of them. And with that, we'll move on to the next category. The next category is Top AI Chip Company, category sponsored by Rootstock, a provider of ERP systems. The Readers Awards prizes are as follows. Gold, NVIDIA. NVIDIA, the much talked about chip maker, for various reasons. Partly because its chips are hugely popular with um, Bitcoin miners, I think they're called. But yeah, NVIDIA is very widely used. NVIDIA chips are very widely used in autonomous systems, whether they are vehicles, cars, or robots. And the company itself hasn't just sort of let it happen and just counted the money that comes in. It's actually made stride towards the autonomous or robotic sector and produce chips that are specialized and are more suited to the computing demands of autonomous systems. So I'm sure the robotics community appreciate that. We've certainly appreciated covering it. So yeah, it's not only successful, it's also innovative as well in that sense. So yes, they're also in the process of buying a company called ARM, which is a chip designer actually, not so much a chip maker, but yeah, its growth, Nvidia's growth is yeah, for all sorts of reasons. I mean, through organic as well as acquisition, it seems, provided it does actually manage to buy ARM. Yeah, so well done to NVIDIA. Now we move on to the Silver Award. The Silver Award goes to Apple. Apple, as you all know, is a maker of a wonderful range of computers and phones and iPads and other devices, and has been just a phenomenon over the many years of our coverage and our career. My career, looking back, is really only been made possible by learning Apple how to use Apple computers and the software therein. Because Apple kind of provided the platform for the emergence of desktop publishing and desktop video editing. So, it was a very far-reaching, far-sighted company. At the time, many people might have said, well, these are just sort of toys, and the idea of media was seen as a little bit of a hobby, and don't want to be rude, but a bit of waste of time. But obviously, as we all know, it's a massive industry, media. Became so, but it's easy to forget that it wasn't. It was an industry. It was a small industry. Now it's just absolutely huge. Not even including social media in that analysis, if you want to call it that. But anyway, Apple is a favorite company of mine, and I'm sure many others here. So well done to them, Silver Award. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't mind us giving them silver, but yeah, I'm sure it's important to them. But anyway, they've developed their own range of chips now. They're very concentrated on AI and want to specialize in AI chips. And eventually want to go it alone. They've been using chips from other manufacturers over many years, IBM, Motorola, Intel, and so on and so forth. Qualcomm as well, I think, for their phones. But they're gradually moving away from that, and they're building their own chips. And building chips is the most difficult technology at the moment that humans do. So yeah, if anyone can do it, Apple can. So good luck to them. Well done to them. Silver award, and the bronze award goes to Google. Google, another gigantic company that's emerged only in the last, I don't know, 20 years or something. Um, Difficult to explain to younger people that there was no internet before. But Google, pretty much, you know, I guess owns the internet almost. Its search engine hasn't changed for 20 years. The design is clean, so empty page with the thing in the middle, the search field in the middle where you enter your search criteria, whatever word you want to use. Um, and yeah, that's it's grown from there. It's a phenomenal company, a fantastic developer of tools for the internet age. And they've developed AI chips to help them along in their own uh, challenges of processing so much data, all these requests, billions and billions of requests that people have, looking for things or developing things, programming things. Yeah, they've developed AI chips for their data centers, their devices, and it's a bit of a tie. I mean, strictly speaking, if you're talking about which companies have the most powerful or the most capable chips, you could have a very long conversation about things like that. But this is all based on votes, and Google got the third highest number of votes so for once it's not top. Okay, so well done to Robotics and Automation news readers for casting their votes in such a fair and equitable manner. Congratulations to all three companies. And let's talk about the Judges Award. Now, the Judges Award goes to Intel. Intel is obviously the chip company that everybody thinks about when anybody asks, name a chip company. Intel will be the first one that comes to mind. And it is still one of the biggest, probably is still the biggest. Actually, here's a judge's comment. Intel continues to dominate this space and their results speak for themselves. Yes, well, there you go. It's a dominant company in the sector and it continues to generate huge amounts of revenue. And, it's been very innovative over the past few years. And, we'll see how things develop over the next few years because things are changing as they always are in the technology world. The honourable mention goes to ARM. ARM is a very highly regarded chip designer and a coveted acquisition by tech giants. I'm sure there's been many attempts to take over this company by many other companies, many other tech giants, chip makers especially. Maybe even Intel has tried to buy them. But this time it's NVIDIA. This time it's Nvidia who is trying to buy ARM. It's actually been bought. ARM is currently owned by SoftBank, which also has a huge presence in the robotics sector. I'm not really sure why they're selling or why they'd want to sell ARM because it is a great company. It designs chips that many, many other companies, including Apple, have used in their systems. And yeah, I'm sure it will continue to do well, whatever the corporate situation it finds itself in. So, okay, so that was the top AI chip company. Another category like vertical farming, we feel like we not supported so much. I mean, not that big a website to change the market, but we do influence key people and key industries here and there. It makes a difference when we produce a list, a big list of companies in particular sectors like AI chips or vertical farms. It allows researchers and people investing or maybe even starting up business in that field, to get an overview of what's going on in the landscape or in the sector, because there aren't other sources of this kind of information available. So, well done to our editorial people as well, I suppose, and our readers, because they inspire us to, produce articles like this. They're a curious and inquisitive, audience. Okay, so with that said, the next category is probably the most influential. It's difficult to measure influence, but the category is top electric vehicle charging station maker. Now, electric vehicles obviously been around for decades, but they're a very, very marginal minority sort of market. It's like, it's like the Greenpeace of old or the conservationists of old. They were seen as a bit hippie and bit sort of, out there, left field, whatever. But now, of course, it's completely mainstream. It's just barging in, bulldozing everything in its way to become the mainstream technology of the future. Pretty much all the automakers have thrown their weight behind electric vehicles. There may be some quibbling about electric lithium-ion batteries versus hydrogen fuel cells, or things like that. But we are looking at a future where clean cars that don't run on petrol, are going to be the norm. The majority of cars in 50 years on the roads will be clean cars. It might not even take 50 years. As I say, it's going at such a pace now that it might be 20 to 30 years. Certainly governments have said that they want to phase out or ban the making or production of petrol cars or internal combustion engine cars by 2030 and 2050, that sort of date. But yeah, we produced a long list of manufacturers of electric vehicle charging stations. Now, obviously, it might sound a bit sort of circumspect, but without a network of charging stations, electric vehicles are not going to get very far, literally. That was one of the complaints of electric vehicle owners and the people who wanted to promote the industry, that there wasn't enough EV charging points. So we thought we would make a very long list of EV charging station makers, and it has proved to be a fantastic success. We have had so many readers for that list and articles, associated articles. So we're very happy that maybe some influential people read those things, and they're included in various reports that were presented at, I don't know, environmental meetings like COP in Glasgow recently, and so on. Who knows? Who knows how the information was used? But we don't want to, we're not necessarily looking for credit, but we are looking to help. Add a little bit of information that might be useful in some way towards making the world a cleaner place. So yeah, this is our contribution, if you like. Hopefully, I'm not just deluded and there was something like that happening. But certainly, in terms of readers, it had a huge number of readers. But anyway, enough said about that. The category is sponsored by SAE, the Standards Developing Organization of Engineering Professionals. The Readers' Awards are as follows. Gold. The gold winner is ChargePoint. ChargePoint is a company that operates what is believed to be the largest online network of independently owned electric vehicle charging stations in the world, present in at least 14 countries, and makes the technology itself. Congratulations to ChargePoint. It might have felt lonely for a while, ChargePoint being the only one in the market, or at least the only really big successful one. But now it's been joined by quite a few other companies that have been producing electric vehicle charging points. and we'll see how well it does with the competition against the competition. Certainly from our website's point of view, that we saw the votes coming in, and ChargePoint was a very clear winner. And in terms of where people go when they read the article about EV charging points, a lot of them go to ChargePoint's website. They become very interested in it, and hopefully people at ChargePoint will have noticed. So anyway, with that said, congratulations, Dan. With that said, the Silver Award for top electrical vehicle charging station maker goes to Bosch. Bosch, the German headquartered international global um, technology company. Technology meaning all sorts of technology, really, from washing machines to automated systems for cars. What do they call them? ADAS, advanced driver assistance systems. It just does everything. Bosch does everything. And EV charging points is one of them. And it's got a range of charging stations. And it says it has a charging network of more than 200,000 charging points in Europe. So yeah, that's a hefty number, and added to the other hundreds of thousands that are emerging. Europe and probably America will have a fairly, adequate network of electric vehicle charging points for when lots more people have electric cars. Electric cars, I believe, sales are going up by 50% a year for the last couple of years, and that means that it just more and more electric cars are coming onto the roads. Okay, so well done, Bosch, for winning silver, and the bronze prize goes to ABB. ABB, the industrial giant of industrial giants. It makes a huge range of electric vehicle charging stations, including large-scale solutions for bus stations and dedicated electric vehicle not petrol stations, but stations where EVs can stop and recharge. The ABB, of course, is a very big company in many different sectors, but it's particularly successful in the power generation or power station equipment sector. So it must there's a certain amount of vertical integration is achievable or going on already there with their electric vehicle charging stations. And it's phenomenal to see very large companies get involved in this sector. I mean, because the green movement has gone so long with people sort of disparaging it or sort of not quite taking it seriously. It's kind of seen now when you see big companies like ABB, Bosch, and so on get involved. It just shows how seriously everybody's taking it. So that's good. All right, so the Judges Award. The Judges Award in the category of top electric vehicle charging station maker goes to Daimler Mercedes-Benz. Daimler Mercedes-Benz, of course, is probably the world's largest automotive company, certainly Europe's largest. But yeah, it's very interesting electric vehicles. It's produced some really beautiful cars that run on electricity, and it's probably going to continue doing that. It certainly produced some quite striking looking autonomous cars, and autonomous electric. They kind of go together in the minds of the automakers. They see the sense in combining the two, and they see that as the future. And the judges' comment about Mercedes is as follows. I like how Mercedes-Benz is partnering with other companies to create an ecosystem to address charging stations instead of going about it alone. Yeah, so Mercedes obviously has a lot of vehicles on the road, customers that have bought their vehicles and they're all driving all over the place, all over the world. And it makes sense to kind of create an ecosystem for them, whether it be charging points or some other way of helping create a platform for electric cars of the future, electric vehicles of the future. And the honourable mention in this category of top electric vehicle charging station maker goes to Siemens. Siemens is probably, I think it's the largest engineering company in Europe, and it has many ongoing electric vehicle projects. It's probably the first company, or one of the first companies, to have set up electric vehicle charging points in the car park of its corporate buildings, and which enabled the employees to charge their electric vehicles using those using those charging points. So yeah, good on Siemens there, and yeah, the charging points look quite nice as well. They're very well designed, and I'm sure they'll become a popular choice with companies that want to set up charging points. Yeah, you could get a whole new category of business where nowadays you have petrol forecourts where you can fill up with petrol. In the future, you might have lots of businesses setting up as electric vehicle charging points. Have a little shop and a few electric charging points, and you're away. You're in business. The Just as a technical note, as far as I understand, the electric vehicle charging points that are used at public stations like that, I think they use direct direct current, which I believe is, enables the car to charge faster. Whereas if it's at home, it uses alternating current and is therefore a little bit slower. That is my simplistic take on it. But whatever the details of the technology, certainly in when you're talking about a commercial, industrial strength EV charging point, you are talking about a much faster charging functionality, function or ability. Okay, so that's that. That's the Top Electric Vehicle Charging Station Maker Awards, and now we come to the Top Programmable Logic Controller Maker. Now, I'm not an expert, even after quite a few years of working on this website. Programmable logic controllers, as far as I understand, they're kind of like little devices, little computers. You call them devices, I suppose. That switch on or off machines that are working or not working, or needed or not needed, and a whole host of other things. This category is sponsored by Item, and they produce modular aluminium systems for industrial engineering. And yeah, the PLCs are a very important part of automation and factories themselves. So yeah, even if I don't understand totally what they are, they're very important. That's definitely what I know. So the Readers Awards go to in gold, or first place in gold is Siemens. Now, Siemens is, by a lot of researchers, and including our own, we did a bit of research, and they are the clear leader in terms of the number of units they sell and the number of factories that use their PLCs. And they are believed to have 30% market share on their own. So that's a hefty market share for one single company to have. So yeah, Siemens are a clear leader in terms of commercial market share, and correspondingly, they got a lot of votes in this sector, in this competition. So a deserved winner, and well done to Siemens. And next we have the Silver Award, and that goes to ABB. Again, as I said, it's huge in so many different markets, and PLCs is obviously one of them. It provides a huge range of PLC solutions for small, medium, and large companies, and it's particularly strong in the data center market. It's actually made a concerted push, whether it's marketing or whether it's technology-led push into data centers, because obviously data centers have grown so much over the last 10 years or more, with many more data centers cropping up here and there. ABB, identified that as a growing market and, provided PLCs for them, for that. And the renewable energy sector is another one. As I said, ABB is big in the power generation equipment sector, so PLCs, I guess, constitute part of the equipment mix that they supply. So that's ABB winning the silver. Well done to ABB. The bronze award goes to Bronze Award for the top programmable, in the category of top programmable logic controller maker, goes to Rockwell Automation. Rockwell, a fantastic name, American, as you can probably guess if you didn't know. They invented, as far as I could find out, they invented the PLC in the 1970s and are still one of the leading companies in the market. The Rockwell has quite interestingly sort of moved into IT, sort of, put resources into developing its IT platforms for automation and factories and things like that. So PLCs are part of that. They have also something called PACs, which programmable automation controllers. I'm not sure what the difference is, but obviously the name is different and implies that it's specifically designed for automation systems in factories. So, yeah, it's clearly an innovative, continues to be an innovative company, and offers a full range of PLCs for factories. Well done to Rockwell for winning bronze in our awards voting for the category of top programmable logic controller maker. The judges award for in this section, top PLC, goes to Siemens. Siemens, as I said, is the largest, probably the largest engineering company in Europe, and it's globally massive. And this is what the judges said of Siemens. Outside of the US, Siemens is the top dog, but they continue to innovate. Sometimes when you're a very large company, you don't always feel the need to innovate. You may be worried about innovating too much and getting distracted, or innovating yourself out of a market and losing money. Who knows? But yeah, innovation for Siemens is integral, and I reckon it's probably very important to all companies. So in my experience, or over the many years I've been looking at these kind of things, companies that don't innovate tend to kind of, lose out quite a lot and eventually lose significant market share to more innovative competitors. It just seems to be the way it goes, because technology is like that. Okay, so the honorable mention in the top PLC maker market award goes to Mitsubishi Electric. Mitsubishi is so huge, it got split into different parts. So Mitsubishi cars have nothing to do with Mitsubishi Electric, but it must be the same kind of company, I suppose. I don't know what the corporate structure is like, but certainly it's got the same name. But yeah, the electric part, Mitsubishi Electric, is different. It's the industrial part. It's the one that produces industrial robotic arms and so on, and PLCs as well. And if only because Mitsubishi itself is so huge, it has its own demand, and it's the same for a lot of these companies. They are so huge that if they produce something like PLCs or robotic arms, indeed, their own demands from their own business units help them grow enormously into, top companies around the world. So, yeah, I'm sure all sorts of other companies buy it too, their PLCs, and certainly the design is quite nice as far as I remember from the pictures. Okay, so that's that for the top programmable logic controller maker awards. Now we come to the top warehouse automation company. Now, when we first thought about it, I had thought it would be like just autonomous mobile robots, which are the little platforms for those uh, listeners or viewers who don't know. Autonomous mobile robots, or AMRs, are the little mobile robot. They tend to have wheels and they're flat, boxy looking flat things, which sometimes carry, or very often carry, shelf units on their backs. Two human pickers who select items from the shelves, and then when they're done, the mobile robots, the AMR, takes it back again to wherever it wants in the warehouse. So that's what I thought people would vote for in this category, those kind of warehouse automation companies. But it turns out slightly different, not entirely different, but it's a little bit different. You'll see in a second. So this category is sponsored by Castrol, a global industrial and automotive lubricants provider. So yeah, the Readers Awards for Top Warehouse Automation Company is as follows: Gold, Locus Robotics. Locus Robotics. That's right, Locus Robotics. Locus Robotics is an autonomous mobile robot maker, an AMR maker. I was saying that, I thought it'd be all AMR makers, but it's not. You'll see in a minute. But yeah, Locus Robots has won the award. It was one of the first companies. We interviewed them many years ago. Well, say many years ago, about 4 years ago. We started 5 years ago, so 4 or 5 years ago, we interviewed one of the senior executives from there, and they were explaining how their company, they started it because they used to use Kiva Systems robots. Kiva Systems got bought by Amazon. Initially, Amazon said they would continue to sell Kiva Systems robots to other companies, but they didn't. They withdrew it from the market. Probably not deliberately. They probably just needed them for themselves. I mean, they grew so fast that they probably caught themselves by surprise and needed all the Kiva Systems robot to work in their own warehouses. So that meant that it was, other companies who ran warehouses, operated warehouses, didn't have a robot company to go to buy robots. That was that was what it was like back then. Now, of course, there are loads of robot companies, and it's a massive, massive market growing all the time. And Locust Robots was one of the first to take up the challenge of replacing the Kiva Systems robots. So they did very well, and they're still doing very well. Produced a nice looking robot, Locust Bot, I think it's called. And yeah, they have won this award because they got the most number of votes, and I can understand why people vote for them because, as I said, innovative, risk-taking company that has succeeded in producing a good robot, which is now commercially very successful. I think it's got a deal with DHL as well, which can't be bad. DHL, the largest logistics company in the world. Okay, so that's gold for Locus Robotics. Well done to them. The silver award goes to AutoStore. AutoStore is a one of those companies that isn't necessarily an AMR company. It doesn't really produce AMRs as such. It produces what you might describe as a well, technically it's called an automated storage and retrieval system. Now, what it looks like is a kind of cube shape or rectangular cube, whatever shaped sort of grid of, you know, kind of pathways for robots, these sort of mobile robots, which are usually found at the top, to to transport systems from here to there and in different directions. I have no idea how it works, to be honest with you, but it looks very sophisticated, and it is very popular. It is very popular as a foundational technology for many warehouse automation providers. So you'd get, for example, Swisslog, which is another big company, part of KUKA, the robot maker. And they use AutoStore, and many other companies use AutoStore systems as part of the offering. So they bundle the AutoStore system together and sort of resell it, if you like. So I'm not sure, how that kind of works in terms for AutoStore, whether they kind of would prefer for customers to go directly to them. I don't know, but certainly they're very popular, both in terms of commercially in the market, people buy their systems, albeit through third parties, and with our voters as well. So I'm very glad about that. Sometimes companies that produce the underlying technology don't get the credit they deserve. But in this case, I think our readers have voted. I like the way they voted anyway, and AutoStore won silver, so well done to AutoStore. The bronze award goes to Seagrid. Now, Seagrid is a very interesting company. It produces AMRs, which are slightly different from other AMRs. You could call them, they call them automated material handling vehicles. It's kind of probably the reason they distinguish it slightly is because AMRs tend to be quite small, and the load bearing capacity is relatively low, if you like. It carries shelf units, which are heavy for an average person to lift. So it's quite strong, but Seagrid vehicles tend to lift or pull 8,000 pounds to 10,000 pounds at a time. Now, 8,000 pounds is about 4,000 kilos. 4,000 bags of sugar. It's a lot of weight. So they're bigger, more capacity, more higher payload, and so on. So yeah, they've raised $150 million to expand their business, and yeah, I'm sure they're going to do very well. Certainly, already they're doing very well. So well done to Seagrid for winning bronze. Okay, so we come to the Judges Award. The Judges Award goes to Vecna Robotics. Vecna Robotics is a very cerebral company, if I can put it that way. Cerebral as in it's a very thoughtful, innovative company which kind of thinks about the context in which robots operate, and broader sort of that takes a broader perspective on its business, and yeah, it's much appreciated by people who, including myself, who we're always looking to try and figure out where things are going, what technologies are going to be needed, what the demands are, what to make of it. Because you've got to remember that these markets didn't exist. As I said, the Locus Robotics it started because Kiva System disappeared, and Kiva Systems was the only one at the time. We're only talking 10, maybe 15 years ago, maybe not even 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. We've been around for 5 years, and we've seen a lot of changes even in those 5 years. So those changes need to be articulated, need to be thought out, need to be predicted to a certain extent. And Vecna Robotics, they do a bit of that, a lot of that actually. So yeah, always interesting to hear what they have to say, and looking on their websites and blogs. Okay, so the judges' comment about Vecna Robotics was as follows: continues to be one of the only true AMR manufacturers out there, and their 24-hour service is not only unique, it gives peace of mind to their customers, which helps ensure very low downtime for their processes. There you go. It's a very interesting company, and it obviously looks after its customers. It does come across like that company. All right, so yeah, the honorable mention goes to, in this category of top warehouse automation company, the honorable mention goes to Balio. Balio is, I don't know if you can call it an integrator, but what it does is that it works with AMR companies or AGV companies. The one that it mostly works with is Linde, I think. So they provide Balio provides a kind of one-stop shop for warehouse robotic and automation systems. They tend to integrate stuff, develop the software, and make everything work. So that's what Balio does. Thank you to Balio for taking part, and yeah, thank you to all companies that have taken part and voted and helped make this a very exciting thing for us to do. Yes, it's taken a while, but yeah, we've got there in the end. And thanks for bearing with me. I think it's been more than an hour already, so yeah, I'll try and rush through as quickly. But these companies are so interesting. It's difficult not to talk about them and say the little that I do know about them through having done the website for a few years now. So anyway, the next category is top industrial robot arm manufacturer, sponsored by KVH, Mobile Connectivity and Inertial Navigation System Specialist. Now, industrial robotic arms was kind of the reason why the website was set up or exists. That was the thing, that was the technology that we found fascinating and mesmerizing to look at, the way it moved and the way it did things. It's powerful, it's precise, and it was the foundation on which modern manufacturing productivity was expanded, and yeah, the modern world was built by the robotic arm. It is a phenomenal piece of technology. So yeah, we still would say that is the largest segment of our audience. They find that the most interesting. But the AMR companies, as I said, they've grown so quick over the last couple of years. The audience, a lot of them are in that sector, and we get a lot of readers for that as well. But yeah, robotic arms are still the thing, and even in this sector, you've all seen, as we've seen, quite a lot of innovation. The collaborative robotic arms have kind of changed everything, if you like, which is very interesting because these robotic arms have been in existence since the 50s or whatever. So it's been about 50 years. They haven't really innovated a lot. And these collaborative robotic arms have come along, and suddenly everything's innovating. Everybody's developing robotic arms, collaborative robotic arms, and all sorts of other things are happening as a result. So yeah, it's a very interesting time for the robotic arm sector. So with that said, let's look at the Readers Awards, how they voted, how our readers voted, and who won. The Gold Award Gold Award for the highest number of votes in the category of top industrial robotic arm manufacturer goes to Fanuc or Fanuc or Fanuc. I don't know how to say it even after all this time. I did interview a very senior person in the US who works for Fanuc, um, and yeah, he said it as Fanuc or Fanuc. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, something like that. But yeah, Fanuc is the world's largest robot maker. It has the biggest number of units, industrial robotic arms out there in the world. Installations, as you might call them, 500,000, I think, robots around the world, probably a lot more by now. Last time we did a count, it was around 500,000. So yeah, it's a clear leader in the sector, and Yeah, it got the most number of votes in our competition and has won gold. Well done to Fanuk, and we look forward to writing and reading more about them going forward. It's certainly an innovative company as well. It's developed IoT systems. I think it was probably the first company in the world to connect up all its robotic arms in one sort of integrated industrial IoT system. So I think it did it for General Motors. So all the factories, all the GM factories around the world, the robots were connected to a central sort of computer, if you like, or something where they could all be monitored, managed, fixed if necessary. Yeah, it's a very very powerful system that they developed, and that was many years ago. And the IoT systems they've developed and commercialized that kind of IoT system thereafter, as have other companies as well. So yeah, well done to Fanuc, and long may their innovation continue. Okay, so we go on to the Silver Award. Silver Award in the top industrial robotic arm manufacturer section goes to ABB. ABB is the winner of the Silver Award in the Readers Awards section of the top industrial robotic arm manufacturer. ABB, what can I say that I haven't already said about ABB? It's brilliant at everything. Basically, it's robotic arms up there with the best. It's obviously Fanuc and ABB are at the very top of our readers' opinion, in our readers' opinions anyway, votes wise. So yeah, it's very, along with all sorts of the other things that it does, a power station equipment, electric vehicle charging points, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it does robotic arms very well as well. Its IoT offering is also is it's very very well presented and very successful. I'm sure it generates a lot of revenue for them. It is brilliant. It's brilliant from the point of view of our coverage of it. I think it's called Ability, which ABB Ability, which is it's an IoT system which connects up machines and allows you to centrally manage them. It's fantastic. This kind of technology has been emerging while we've been publishing. It's been a real I would say a pleasure. I've often thought of my job as being like a hobby. It's been enjoyable reading about interesting technological innovations and seeing such large changes in the industrial landscape has been quite, it's been good. It's been good. All right, so that's that, and the bronze prize in the category of top industrial robot arm manufacturer goes to Universal Robots. Universal Robots. I'm so glad they got the readers' vote and got one of the prizes, because I think that they are the reason that the industrial robotic arm market has become such a dynamic, innovative market now. Until Universal Robots released their collaborative robot, all the other robot makers were just making robots that they'd made for decades, similar robots, just a little bit better each time. I suppose every year they might improve things or whatever. But essentially, they were the same types of robots. They were caged off. They were very big, powerful, dangerous pieces of equipment. So they had to be separated from humans. But Universal Robots came along, has built a much smaller, lightweight, smaller payload robot that could be, used by humans in close proximity or even, in direct contact. Obviously, you don't need to hold a robot arm to make it do things. You just program it, and that was the other thing. The way you programmed it was different as well. You sort of taught it by leading it, holding it, and sort of moving it to one position and then another and so on, and asking it to memorize what you did and then do it by itself. I mean, I'm simplifying it a lot, but that's what they did, and it was like almost like a power tool, like a drill or I don't know, whatever power tool you might want to say. It became a bit like that in principle. Obviously, it's far more sophisticated and powerful and more expensive, but that was the principle, and that's what it happened. It got an ISO certificate. There's a specific definition for what a collaborative robot is. It's different from an industrial robot. So all of those things, not least the fact that it sold in huge quantities, completely changed the market. All the other robot makers had to sit up and take notice and think to themselves, maybe we should release a collaborative robot of our own, and that's what they all did. All of them have released collaborative robot models in the last 3 4 years while we've been publishing. It's great. It's great for us. We get to report about them, and great for the sector, I'm sure, and for all the people who use robots or found uses for robots. So a lot of these collaborative robots have found applications or uses that were never really thought of as tasks for robots. Um, because until then, humans would do them. Um, and never occurred to anyone that a robot could do this because the type of robot needed wasn't around. So that's what the wonderful thing that Universal Robots did. So well done to them. Well done to our readers for voting for them, and they win the bronze prize. Okay, so the Judges Award for in the category of top industrial robot arm manufacturer goes to Stoibli. I hope I said that right. Stoibli is another one of the historic industrial robot arm manufacturers. They are actually a very old company, Stoibli. Date back to the Industrial Revolution and so on. And robotic arms, obviously, are not that old, but it's just organic growth that led to Stoibli doing and this industrial robotic arm, and it is very, very successful. Lots of companies buy it. It's a Swiss company, so it's no surprise that the Swiss watchmaking sector is like it's the favorite robot for that segment, and yeah, it's also found in many other sectors around the world, and yeah, it's a great company in my opinion, and yeah, I'm glad it won the Judges Award. And the judge's comment about Stoibli was as follows: impressive product that is supported by a top-notch organization in North America. Now, as I said earlier, Stoibli is a favorite in the Swiss market, but it's also a huge company in the automotive sector in North America and other countries as well. And finally, the honorable mention goes to Yaskawa Motoman. Yaskawa is another of the kind of historic or pioneering robot companies, and it is very close to Fanuc in terms of number of unit sales. I think it was the second when we made a list a couple of years back. It was the second largest in terms of number of installations. It's also a very thoughtful and articulate company in some ways, in the sense that it articulated or invented the word mechatronics, I believe, to indicate mechanical and electronics, the merging of the two in such technologies such as robotics. And mechatronics is now obviously a very well-established word, and everybody kind of knows what it means. Even if you don't never heard it before, you kind of understand it. So yeah, well done to them for getting an honorable mention. Obviously, it's they probably would have preferred a prize, but there are lots of other companies that didn't get mentioned. Apologies to all the companies that didn't win prizes or didn't get mentions. It's an awards ceremony and awards voting thing. We don't control it, and there's always next year. Maybe things will change next year. Hopefully, we'll be around to do another one of these. Okay, so next category is top autonomous shuttle maker. This category is sponsored by Robotics, which has developed a safety and security platform built specifically for smart machines. The Readers Awards in this wonderful, fascinating sector of autonomous shuttles, autonomous shuttle makers. The Readers Awards go to the following: Gold. The Gold Award for top autonomous shuttle maker goes to Toyota. Toyota is the world's, last I heard, I think it was the world's largest automaker, car maker, truck maker. I don't know, makes every kind of vehicle. But it's still a surprise that it made a autonomous vehicle, and it might not have ventured into the field had it not been for the Olympics. It built an autonomous shuttle for the Olympics. It was very excited about it. The whole country, I'm sure, was very excited about it. It wanted the shuttle to transport athletes and other people from one Olympic venue to another within the Olympic venues and so on. It's a really nice looking machine as well. So it missed out on that in the sense that it didn't happen at the time or in the way that it wanted because of coronavirus. It got the Olympics got cancelled at the time. It did hold it in the following year or recently, but the world has changed so much that it just didn't get the attention that normally the Olympics would get. It was a very strange Olympics. Nobody was sure whether crowds were allowed or not. Anyway, all of that, it's been a depressing couple of years for everybody for all sorts of reasons. And for Toyota, the autonomous shuttle is just very, very nice machine. I'm sure they'll do very good business with it. There are lots of airports that would want autonomous shuttles. Some of them already have autonomous shuttles, and there are lots of other places and venues and companies who would want autonomous shuttles. So it certainly will do good business. And Toyota being the top, one of the most reliable vehicles, maker of one of the most reliable vehicles. Autonomous shuttles, if they're autonomous shuttles, I'm sure will do well. But anyway, they've won the Gold Award. And well done to them. So the Silver Award in Top Autonomous Shuttle Maker goes to Neuro. Neuro is a brand new startup. Never heard of it before. Nothing like Toyota in terms of Toyota being 100 years old or whatever. Neuro is a new company, and that makes sense because autonomous vehicles as a technology is brand new as well. Might have sounded weird at first when Google or whoever talked about driverless cars and so on, and nobody really thought it was a serious idea. But yeah, it's now that people are taking it seriously, it's no surprise that companies like Neuro are emerging and showing off, in their case, a very nice looking vehicle that they kind of pitching to grocers, large grocery retailers, as a delivery vehicle. It's four-wheeled. It looks like a small van or truck or whatever you want to call it, little shuttle, and it's you know packed with groceries, and it will deliver to people's homes. And it's already got partnerships with grocery retailers to do exactly that. And I think it might have had a partnership with a large pharmacy chain. So yeah, it's already doing respectable business, and I'm sure that that will continue to grow. So yeah, well done to Neuro for winning our silver award. The next award is the bronze, and that goes to bronze award goes to Optimus Ride. Now, Optimus is, I think it's the name of a transformer in that cartoon. Optimus Prime, I think it is the main guy of the Transformers. Anyway, I don't know much about things like that. A long time ago. But anyway, yeah, it was founded by Optimus Ride was founded by MIT members, I suppose graduates and educationalists there. And they took part in a DARPA challenge to find, interesting new technologies as DARPA does. And that kind of grew out of all that and is now a kind of, successful standalone business. It's doing, it's agreeing partnerships with urban organizations and probably some local governments as well to test its vehicle on certain routes for certain functions. It is designed to carry people, unlike the Neuro's vehicle. Neuro vehicle is kind of small and it's designed to carry goods and groceries in particular, perhaps. But this one is designed to carry people, a bit like the Toyota one. So it's a bit larger than the Nero one, it's similar in size to the Toyota one. And it looks like a regular minibus, basically. It looks great, and yeah, it's. I'm sure it's going to do very, 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 very well. Because you think about routes, out of town routes that it's expensive to maintain for local authorities because the driver costs a lot of money. They might not actually put on those services for people who live out of town but want to come into town. And an autonomous shuttle provides local authorities or organizations with the opportunity to do just that, provide transport for people who may be underserved by, transport. So yeah, okay, good luck to Optimus Ride and all the other autonomous shuttle providers. The Judges Award in this sector, in this category, goes to Easy Mile. Easy Mile. That's another autonomous shuttle company. I think I don't want to say. I think it's French. I'm not sure. I can't remember actually, but certainly another company that I'm going to mention in a second is French, I believe. Not that it matters, but anyway, the judges said about Easy Mile the following: Easy Mile is focused on airports first before moving to the highway. This allows it to learn the challenges of autonomy in a controlled environment and perfect their technology before putting it out there in the public world. Yeah, it's kind of sensible to do that, but airports are in themselves a big market. If you think about it, airports are huge places. People walking from one end of a large airport to another takes ages, takes 15, 20 minutes, or if even more. So yeah, having little shuttles, being able to jump on little shuttles and jump off after a few hundred meters is great. It's a great idea. So airports themselves, in and of themselves, constitute a big market. And yeah, public highways, yeah, it's another huge market as well. But yeah, I think they'll do well even if they just stick to airports. That would be fine. Goes same goes for all the other companies as well, shuttle makers. Okay, so good luck to Easy Mile or whatever it does. And the honourable mention in this sector, in this segment, goes to Navia. Navia is that's the one. I thought it was a French company. I think it is a French company, not that it matters. But it deserves recognition in my view because particularly because it basically built the vehicle that many others are developing their solutions on. Solutions meaning transportation solutions. So this is the one that I think a lot of uh, local authorities, councils are favoring. Certainly in one or two places, quite a few places in Europe. So as I said, you got council areas or large areas where um, maybe the town centre is a little bit too far to walk to for some people who are living on the outskirts, and they may not have a bus service that's convenient for them. They either have a car or they maybe don't go into town very much, especially if they're elderly. And having autonomous driverless buses minibuses enables councils to, provide transportation services to people like that who otherwise would be a little bit isolated. It's not just about that, of course. It opens up that particular location to other people moving in when they know that there's a transport link that would enable them to get into town quickly and easily. Then they're more likely to buy property in the area. The property, or buy or rent property in that area, it improves the area. Transportation links always improve an area for many different reasons. Not that I'm an expert in these things, but it's just common sense. So that's the top autonomous shuttle maker category. Well done to all of them for having the courage to develop completely new technologies. Okay, so the top robotics software and systems developer category, that's the category now, and it's sponsored by Techman Robot, collaborative robots to fit a broad range of industries. The Readers Awards for top robotics software and systems developer are as follows. The gold goes to Right Hand Robotics. Now, Right Hand Robotics is concentrating on the tricky problem of developing robotic systems for piece picking in the warehouse operation space. Piece picking is kind of like if you got a basket full of lots of different items, um, you want the robot to be able to identify the specific piece you want in amongst the diverse range of pieces, items. Um, and that's not always easy because camera systems, they may look good to our eyes when a camera takes a picture, but identifying items, individual items, differentiating them is not that easy for a robot. It's a software challenge. It's not just a hardware challenge. The camera can do a great job of taking a wonderful picture. We might know exactly what it is that we're looking at, but the robot or the computer might just see it as just a bunch of colors and not know what it is. So yeah, it isn't easy to then. That's not even counting the way the robot picks up the item, the end effector used. Is it the right kind of end effector? And all sorts of other things that software is a very complex area, and I can see why, even though I don't know much about software, I can see why this kind of thing would be difficult. But that's the thing that they've concentrated on, and they've won gold because I guess readers recognize and acknowledge that, and they've been successful at it, and they've provided their systems to a number of companies already, and the innovation and improvement are ongoing. So that's the gold award. The silver award goes to Real-Time Robotics. Now, Real-Time Robotics specializes in motion planning software for robots. Motion planning can mean tiny motions like, robots stay stationary and yet picks pieces from one basket and places them in another and so on, or actual, moving of the robot from, the robot might move from one place to another because it's got wheels and it can, for example. Now that sort of that two sorts of motion planning are both part of motion planning software, and real-time robotics provide um, motion planning software for single machines as well as whole fleets of robots, using high-end GPUs, proprietary algorithms, and advanced chips. So that's the silver award. The bronze award goes to Bluefin Robotics. Now, Bluefin, interestingly, actually, it's not a specialist software developer, to be fair. It is a robotics company. It specializes in the design and manufacture of what was previously probably exclusively military autonomous underwater vehicles, but I don't know, I'm just guessing. But certainly the civilian, they've added or do civilian autonomous underwater vehicles as well, mostly used for research and things like that. Obviously, if you're looking at deep sea things, you don't always want to send people down there because of the pressures and the dangers. So autonomous underwater vehicles can video things for you from way down deep. So it's a fantastic technology to concentrate on. It's been acquired by Bluefin has been acquired by General Dynamics Mission Systems, which kind of indicates that it is largely a sort of military thing. I don't I can't remember what you know Bluefin this sector, but I did wanted to include Bluefin because they do include interesting technologies. But anyway, so the judges award for this sector of a category of top robotics software and systems developer goes to RoboDK. Now, RoboDK or Robot Development Kit um, is a company that we really like for many reasons. One of them is that it was one of the first that we interviewed on the website. We found it a very interesting company 5 years ago. I'm talking about more than 5 years ago, maybe. It was the first interview we did, I think. But yeah, it's basically, RoboDK basically is a virtual sort of environment, a computer environment in which you can program virtual robots. So the benefit of that um, is that you can simulate a robot's tasks and see how to do it better or change it or so on. And then once you've perfected it and got your code or got your programming or got your robot to do exactly what you want, you can then implement that through the computer into an existing robot, into a process, into a factory. Now, the benefit of that is that at the time, anyway, um, that wasn't possible. You had an assembly line with lots of robots. If one stopped working properly, you'd have to shut the process down, or at least shut that robot down, fix it, reprogram it, and so on. And that would create a lot of downtime and a lot of money lost. Um, with this RoboDK virtual sort of simulation platform, you can do that without any downtime. You can do it in the software and then, like I say, install it into the robot. Yeah, it was a very groundbreaking piece of software. I think it started off in a university somewhere in Canada and grew into, I think it used to be called something else, but they've called it RoboDK, Robot Development Kit, and commercialized it. And it's found its way into very interesting companies and projects, even in the aerospace sector and so on. So well done to them. We have, a good feeling about them. And yeah, the judge's comment for RoboDK was or is RoboDK's background and long testing in research phases has ensured its transition into the commercial world has been smooth and very successful. And I think its virtual robot programming software is the best of its kind. All right, we're biased maybe, but it's what you're supposed to do as a judge. You're supposed to make a choice. But same with voters. But it's a. I'm sure you know that RoboDK is a very very interesting company, and you've seen bits of it. And there are other virtual robot platforms now, but they're fairly recent. RoboDK is like the old man of the sector. All right, so anyway, the honorable mention for top robotic software and systems developer goes to Brain Corporation. BrainCore. Now, BrainCore specializes in providing an operating system software for cleaning machines, industrial cleaning robots. So you might have seen shopping centers and places where a person is sat on top of perched on top of this cleaning machine that has sort of round whirring things underneath, scrubbing the floor or polishing the floor or whatever. Those kind of machines, although you see a lot less of them now, I don't know why, but that's the sort of machine that is being automated there. So you get a lot of automated, autonomous machines of that kind now. And a lot of them use BrainCore's operating system inside them. And it's a hugely fast-growing market, and it's doing really, really well. So there you have it. Yeah, they're gonna. I'm sure they're gonna do even better going forward. In a way, they've becoming the Microsoft Windows of the robotic industrial floor cleaning sector. That's what the comment we've used for BrainCore. Anyway, so that's the top robotic software and systems developer category. Now we come to the top end effectors, peripherals, sensors, and embedded technologies category, sponsored by Robotics and Automation News. The Readers Awards for the category of top end effectors, peripherals, sensors, and embedded technologies goes to the gold are as follows. The gold award goes to SICK Sensory Intelligence. Now, SICK Sensory Intelligence is definitely one of our favorite companies, a big supporter of ours. It's fantastic for us that they've won the vote, readers' vote, and it gives us an excuse to talk about them. I'm just glad that they won an award. I didn't really expect them to win gold, but it's fantastic that they have. They've been very good to us, giving us lots of stories and advice and support and encouragement over the last few years, and it's much appreciated. It's lots of people have been encouraging, and they appreciate that we've tried to provide coverage for an area that is underserved by many other websites. I can't say all. Obviously, there are specialist robotics websites out there, but there aren't actually many of them. And there are. When we first did research before we set up, we would look at. I won't name websites, but there are lots of websites we looked at, and they didn't really cover robotics and related automation technologies very much. They talked at a higher level about, I don't know, the economy and productivity and investment and profits, and they didn't really get into the technology. We're not like expert technology sort of, we don't know much about the details of the technology, but we appreciate the actual technologies like the robots, like the sensors, like the end effectors. We can see how clever they are, and it's to be appreciated and admired. And obviously with SICK, as I'm sure all the people in the industry will know they provide sensors for a massive number of robots. Pretty much all the AMRs on the market now use SICK sensors, sensors from SICK, all types of sensors. And they also have safety systems that provide, I suppose, are used by the big industrial robot makers who still have to, keep their big industrial robots out of the way of humans, and they have to have safety systems to be able to do that. But yeah, the Six Senses provides all of those things and more, I'm sure. So yeah, well done to SICK. And yeah, long may they, continue to do well. Okay, so the Silver Award in the category of top-end effectors, peripheral sensors, and embedded technologies goes to the Silver Award goes to Soft Robotics. Now, Soft Robotics, exactly what it means. The name, you can tell what it means. I'm sure, our readers will know all of these things, but I always like to think of new readers and people who don't know. But yeah, they produced an end effector which is essentially very soft. And as I was saying earlier about fruit picking, you need a soft end effector so it won't damage the fruit that you're picking, because often ripe fruit is quite soft. It's not just fruit, obviously. There are lots and lots of soft products that are ordered maybe online that are going through warehouses and are susceptible to being damaged because end effectors are just not designed to handle them. So soft robotics, they've developed a soft a robot soft end effector which can do those things. They're still, I suppose, innovating it and perfecting it, but it's already found a lot of enthusiastic backers and customers. And I think they're partnering with big companies in their development. So yeah, well done to them for winning silver, and well done again to our readers for recognizing, I suppose, the potential innovative nature of this company. Another company, or the next company to have won an award in the Readers' Awards segment is the Bronze Award goes to Festo. Festo. Now, Festo is, you know, I don't know, it's not a very really outside in the industrial sector. Festo is not really that well known. It's a bit like SICK, I suppose. Inside the industry, very well known. But outside the industry, it's not exactly a household name. But they're not meant to be, I suppose. The industrial sector is like that. You get a lot of very big, very successful companies that nobody's ever heard of. Festo is still well known, but yeah, it's difficult also to kind of say what they are. They do a whole range of uh, technologies. They're an automation company. They're a developer of very innovative end effectors. I think soft robotics is. I don't know if they have something to do with soft robotics. Certainly, they've showcased technologies where the end effectors look like octopus arms, and they've done things where they look like little animal things. It's very weird, their research and development sector. But yeah, they're very successful as an industrial company, and obviously our readers know more than I do, so they've voted for them and they've won the bronze. So well done to Festo and our readers. The Judges Award in the category of top end effectors, peripheral sensors, and embedded technologies goes to Robotique. I'm not sure if I said that right, but it's IQ at the end of robot. Some people call it Robot IQ actually, but they are a specialist provider or maker of end effectors, and they are a brilliant company in the way they go beyond that to talk about robotics as a whole in their blog. Brilliant blog, been a brilliant blog for many years. They teach their readers, and I would count myself as at least a passing reader in of their blog. Yeah, they teach people how to do this, how to do that, robot wise, and all sorts of related technologies. And yeah, the product they supply is end effectors, but yeah, their interest goes far beyond that. And they've been a partner of Universal for quite a long time. One of the first to kind of take up the challenge of filling the Universal Robot marketplace, the UR Plus marketplace, with technologies that they developed, some of which were developed specifically for that marketplace. So yeah, well done to Robotic. So glad again they've won. They were one of the companies that featured on our website from the very beginning, and yeah, they've we've been in contact, and they've been very supportive of us, especially in the early days. So yeah, good luck to them. Continual good luck to them, to all of everybody actually. So the honourable mention in this category goes to On Robots. On Robot is a new company which suddenly emerged out of pure entrepreneurial vision, I would say. Somebody somewhere just thought, hang on a minute, there are different end effector companies out there. Why don't we combine several of them and create one big end effector company? And that's exactly what they did. I think it's an amalgamation of three, maybe more end effector companies. Obviously not Robotique, because that's still a standalone company. But OnRobot has provided, I don't know how the competition works in this sector, but I suppose there are so many different end effectors required by so many people. Maybe there isn't a lot of direct competition. But anyway, this is a very big company. It became a very big company very quickly. So wonderful to see that sort of entrepreneurial flair and courage, I suppose, because it does. You're risking money and yeah, it's a good thing to see. I think at least one of the companies that they bought was a fairly small startup with an interesting technology. So they have provided a platform for that company at least to grow and become very successful, because very often people develop technologies, invent things, and they don't really find commercial success. So this way, nothing is guaranteed in life, but yeah, this way they stand a very good chance of becoming commercially successful as well. Okay, so now we come to the very last category. I'm so sorry that we had to get rid of some of the other categories, but as you can tell, this has already been 2 hours. Maybe I talk too much, but it's already quite a lot of categories. And yeah, we try to pick the most interesting ones. As you can see from our previous category, end effectors, peripheral sensors, and embedded technology, it's actually difficult to categorize them, um, without combining lots of different technologies in one category. There's different types of software, PLM, ERP, MES. We can't really um, do one for each. And it's even difficult to combine them as well. So yeah, there were other 2 or 3 other categories we had to leave for another time, put it that way. All right, so the last one is probably kind of one of the fun ones. Top autonomous delivery robot company. Now, autonomous delivery robots. It's slightly different from the Nero one that I talked about earlier. The Nero one looks like a small car. Delivery robots are meant to go onto the sidewalk or the pavement, as they call it in the UK. Basically, they look like not much smaller than an AMR, one of the smaller AMRs. They look like a small shopping basket, like a bit like that. but they're encased, and so the goods are inside, and they carry them from one place to another, which I'll explain in a minute. They interestingly, when they were first released in some cities in the US, when they first started operating, some uh, pedestrians, people who walked on the sidewalk, complained. And the local council asked the robot company not to operate them on the sidewalks until they, I don't know, got licenses or something like that. And I think some accommodation has been made, some certification system has been put in place, regulatory framework, I don't know what. But yeah, now they're allowed to operate. I think it went all the way to the not the Senate, but House of Congress, I suppose, and some congressmen somewhere, I can't remember the details, supported their introduction. So now these delivery robot companies can operate freely as long as they get go through the regulatory requirements. So great news there, because they're nice little technologies. They're not really trouble. I mean, I can't see how they'd be trouble. I don't know. It's just prejudice, isn't it? If you see something strange on the street, you automatically dislike it. You might be on the other side of the street, and it might not be bothering you, but you just don't like this autonomous thing sort of autonomously operating. You don't worry, it's not sentient yet, so don't worry about it. Um, worry about it when it gets sentient. But anyway, the top autonomous delivery robot company category is sponsored by IDS, the versatile, powerful, and easy to use industrial camera systems provider. Imaging development systems, they're called, another great supporter of ours. And this is the final category, so I'll say it one last time. I'm really grateful to all our sponsors. Very sorry that this year has been very disruptive. Uh, it's been very difficult for you as well as for us. So yeah, we'll try and make next year a better year. But thank you for sticking with us. All right, so the Readers Award for this category of top autonomous delivery robot company, are as follows. Gold. The Gold Award goes to the Gold Award for top autonomous delivery robot company goes to Starship Technologies. Starship Technology is not really a surprise. Technology is a great name, great looking little delivery robot. They did partnerships they agreed partnerships with Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, and other companies right from the beginning. And that sort of lent weight. I mean, if you get Daimler interested in anything and you're associated with them, people are always going to take you seriously. So, yeah, that kind of sealed their success fate or whatever. But yeah, they've gone on to partner with not lots, but quite a few universities where they are used to deliver food to people on campus. I don't know exactly how it works, but they're used for mainly small food parcels and whatnot. So yeah, it's actually, I thought it was a US company, but it seems that it's an Estonian headquartered company. Um, no, it's an Estonian company, but it's headquartered in San Francisco in the US. It has engineering facilities in Finland, so it's a European company, which kind of explains the Daimler connection, I suppose. Not too far away, and probably visited them and asked them to lend a bit of support, and they did. And yeah, they've been doing well ever since. And yeah, it's a great little company, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see more of their little delivery robots on our streets. I haven't seen one of myself yet here in the UK, but I hope to see one in the next maybe a year or two. All right, so that's Starship Technologies. Well done to them for winning gold. No surprise there. Voters voted, the readers voted for them, gave them the most votes. The second one, the second prize, silver prize, goes to KiwiBot. Now, KiwiBot is, I, I suppose, a friendly-looking designed robot. Starship robot, I mean, superficial comments, I know, but the Starship one looks a little bit more, what's the word? I don't know, impersonal, put it that way. But nice, very good, very well designed, really nicely designed. KiwiBot, on the other hand, it looks friendly. It looks, tactile. It looks like, doesn't look, it looks more approachable, and that's kind of important in the context of what I said earlier. I don't mean to sort of mock people who might be worried about these little robots, taking over the sidewalk. It's always important to question these things and find out what the details are. And you don't want, you want to know that these autonomous robots are safe. They can avoid collisions. They can avoid being disruptive. It's all fairly logical and valid concerns. And KiwiBot, I think, because it looks friendly and it's all right. It looks more like a shopping trolley. I think that's what the secret is of the design. But yeah, it looks good. KiwiBot, as a company, they seem to have concentrated on working or partnering with restaurants. I think in the New York area. So they've been delivering takeaway meals to restaurant customers. So yeah, that's got to be good, right? So instead of using gas guzzling cars and motorbikes to deliver meals, I've got nothing against it. I've ordered takeaway meals and I've been very glad when they've arrived, no matter how they have arrived. But um, the KiwiBot is economically or environmentally more friendly and looks more friendly. So yeah, KiwiBot, well done to them for winning silver award. And the next prize or bronze prize goes to Segway Robotics. Segway Robotics. Now, Segway, as you'll all know, is a very famous company because it's famous for its two-wheeled personal transporter. Very odd-looking thing, albeit, but it was hugely successful. I don't know how many units they sold of their two-wheel personal transporter, but it got a huge amount of PR. Public relations was massive for it. Everybody knew what it was. And yeah, I personally wouldn't mind trying what they're like, but I'm a bit unsure. I've never learned to skateboard, so I don't really feel confident that scooters are fine. The e-scooters or whatever, they look a little bit more. I don't know. Like I can stay on them, but the Segways, I'm not sure. But they've moved on to robotics, moved into robotics, and I suppose using the same kind of hardware, the personal transporter, two-wheeled, and all that. They've built a robot called Lumo, using that platform, those two wheels, and I suppose the gyroscopic balance and whatever they've used, and they're doing very well with it. It's called Lumo, the delivery robot. It's designed to carry small parcels, small items, and again, it's similar in size to the KiwiBot and Starship Technologies one, but this one it doesn't cover up it's not encased, so the item is just there, just placed on it, and there's nothing to cover it and so on. So I'm not sure whether they have a covered or encased version, but that's the one I've seen. But anyway, I'm sure there'll be lots of different types of robots in this category emerging. I know that there are different designs, which I won't mention. As I say, there's a lot of companies that didn't quite get enough votes to make this final list. But there are also all sorts of delivery robots, at least, that we haven't mentioned. We're not mentioning because they didn't get enough votes to make this little list. So sorry to all of them. And I guess the other side of the coin is that all the people, all the companies that have won awards, whether it be, they might think, well, bronze, or why can't we have won gold? There are lots who didn't make it onto the list. So, it's great, I think, that you've made it onto the list. Yeah. So the Judges Award for the sector of top autonomous delivery robot company goes to Starship Technologies. Now, I've already said quite a lot about Starship Technologies, and yeah, it's a great little it's a really good company, very nicely designed, very professional looking, looks serious, conservative. That's what it looks like. Impersonal, yes, but I suppose that's what probably makes it successful. It doesn't engage too much in people's emotions because that might lead to fears about robots taking over, which we all should worry about and watch out for, I suppose. But yeah, that's the Judges Award. The honourable mention in the category of top autonomous delivery robot company goes to Marble. It's not one of the better known companies. Well, I mean, we did a list, as we do in pretty much all these categories are derived from the lists that we've made, and we made a delivery robot list, and Marble was mentioned in it. And the robot, as far as I remember, is a little bit like the Segway, sorry, the Kiwi bot one. And I thought it would do well. I think all these robot companies, delivery robot companies, will do well, actually. I think it's just a matter of time. But the interesting thing about Marble, reason why it's got an honourable mention, is because it got acquired by Caterpillar, the industrial machine maker, the industrial I don't know, construction equipment maker. Now, for them to have done that, they obviously see an application for the little delivery robot in the construction sector. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it probably will. You will see it again, surely, or some form of it. Through the Caterpillar operation. So okay, so that brings us to the end of the presentation. I'm very glad that I hope you've stayed with me for the last 2 hours. Sorry if I've gone on too much. I tried to keep it short, but it's, as I say, it's very difficult not to say something about the companies that I'm talking about because they are so interesting, and we're very grateful for their participation. A lot of these companies have participated in the voting, as well as over the course of the year they visited our website and read our articles, sent us press releases, and so on and so forth, all of which has led to us being a really good source of information with lots of visitors, and we're very grateful to all of you for that. And we'd like to, we thank you for that. Thank you to all our sponsors. We thank you to all our readers. We thank all our readers, and hopefully we'll do it all again next year. Hopefully it'll be a lot more glamorous and pizzazz, and you'll get a professional presenter doing it, and it'll be in a physical venue somewhere. But for now, this is what we've been able to do, and it's time to say goodbye for the year. For now, we will carry on working for another couple of weeks or so, but we'll probably take a long break over the Christmas holidays period. Hope you all have a wonderful holiday period. Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, and a Happy New Year to you all.